The journey of an entrepreneur goes through several stages. When you start, you're very unsure. There's a huge amount of self-doubt. You're always fearing failure. And as you sort of gain traction and you become more and more successful, you get to a point where you're extremely confident about the steps and actions that you take. So I think that is sort of the journey that I've gone through. So initially, I got the idea of RateGain when I was in the US as a consultant. I was traveling quite a bit, and I thought of building a price comparison website where people could compare prices. But as I came back, I went through iterations, and we pivoted from being a B2C company to being a B2B company. And really, the start was about finding the first set of people. But prior to that was finding a place to work from, finding some amount of capital. So I bootstrapped the company from my savings. I went to my father. He had this apartment that was, vacant. So he gave that to me to utilize. And that's how we really started. We hired, my first employee was actually the chowkidar of the flat. And then we eventually began to add people and really went through a very, very, critical phase where I was building the whole product. I put together a small team where I initially coded. Then I became the project manager, the architect. And once we built the technology, I started to focus on selling the technology, and I started making trips, to the target markets, which were the US and Europe for us. And we got very good success within the first year. And as we continue to scale, my focus, moved from actually being the doer to building a team, building a process where, people could help us scale the company. And really one of the fundamental things that have changed, as I started the company from 20 people and now we are 700 people across, 10 geographies, the focus has really changed on being a lot more strategic than tactical. So now I think about, how the company is going to look like in the next 5 to 10 years and where do we want to be, versus when I started the company, the focus was how do we survive, the next quarter for the next year. So I can understand a lot of entrepreneurs go through that journey, but I think it's about persisting, being focused on what you're trying to achieve and never letting go.